Hey guys, welcome back. Seeing as all my local stores didn't have any Emperor's Children, I had to resort to jumping online, grabbing a file, and 3D printing this beautiful little noise marine. Diabolic Plum is the first colour up for today, slapping down a nice base coat across the entirety of the mini here. I do use 2 coats on this just to get the correct coverage that I'm after. And then we switch into Retributor armor, going through picking out all of those gold trims along the edges everywhere. Now this mini here is a 3D print. The resin printer that I have is one of the first gen ones from ages ago. It's not the best, it's on its last legs, so the quality isn't, anywhere near what a GW mini would be. So there are a couple of areas on here that are quite rough. The face especially, I had quite a difficult time painting because it just doesn't look that great. There were a couple of modifications I made on this one, such as the mohawk that he's sporting and the shoulder pad as well. Now, going through with lead boucher, just going to pick out all of the silver metallic trim pieces, these speaker grills on the front of his chest piece, along with the piping up the back, which again is kind of like a organ pipes, which I believe these would just act again just like speakers as well, along with the ones on the side of his backpack there. Now with all of the silver details done and out of the way, I go through and pick out a pale sand colour. Any generic colour of that kind will be fine for using as a base for going through on the cloth. I'm just picking all of that out now. Also use this to put a base layer down just across the guitar, because I'll be wanting to go through with a very bright, vibrant colour in later steps. Pink Horror, going through and picking out all of the little fleshy pipes and tendrils, and the, flayed skin that he wears across his armour, and the face that's draped over his shoulder as well. Next I use Rakarth Flesh. Going through, I do 2 coats across the face to get a nice even coverage. Then moving into Abaddon Black, just going through picking out all the suit seal and everything underneath there. Alright, with that out of the way, running through now with Druchii Violet. This here I just used to put a shade over the entirety of the armor paneling, as well as the fleshy bits across his armor. I do put this over his face as well, and at a later stage decided that I didn't like the purple undertone coming through on there, so I went over it with Rakarth Flesh and put it back to how I had it. Now with Reichland Flesh Shade, going over all of the golden trim pieces to really bring some depth into the surface area there. Following up with Gnome Oil, going across all of the silver metallics. Next is Soul Blight Grey. And the shade, I just go across all of the fabric materials, as well as putting a little bit on the underside of his shoulder pad as well. Next, I grab Rakarth Flesh and start picking out some of the details that are across the flayed flesh face on his shoulder, along with the other little fleshy bits across his armor.
Now with pallid witch flesh in hand, going through and just picking out some of the more prominent highlight areas across the face and other sections. Next, with any really punchy silver you have, this one here, mithril silver, is what I have on hand. Went through and just picked out some of the most extreme highlights of the silver components. With some Volupus pink contrast paints, I went back across the fleshy tone areas of the armor just to bring out some real punch with a more vibrant pink coloration. Now, he wouldn't be a noise marine if we didn't give him some hair metal 80s inspired zebra print on there somewhere. So we go through, pick that out, just freehanding across the front and back little fabric tunic that he's got going on. Now with Warlock Magenta, going to be going through and starting to pick out and build some layers and volume on the armor. So again, just stippling like I do in previous videos, stippling across this armor. I'm just trying to build gradients as to where the light kind of falls and picks out the higher areas. Spellbound Fuchsia is the next color, if that's how you pronounce it. Again, just following through, picking out just less than what I did last time, stippling away. I personally prefer this method over doing like your really crazy edge highlights and everything like the heavy metal style. For me personally, it has a time and place. It's just not the style I like to go for. Now with Diviner Light, going through, this is going to be my final ultra highlight, I guess. The brightest points here, just very, very selective. I use hardly any of this stuff. Just pick out the most prominent edges and sharp raised details on the mini. Fluoro time, baby! Magenta fluoro coming out. I use this for going over the head and body of the guitar. I forget to film it, but I also pick out his eyes using this as well. Now this goes on very, very thin, so it takes multiple layers to build this up to get the vibrancy and coverage that is needed. Alternatively, you can actually just slap it on quite thick, as you'll see me do in a later step. Now with fluorescent green, I'm going to tackle his little mohawk hair. This is where I put it on quite thick, as you can see on the brush. It's really just slapping it on there. I do 2 coats of this and get the coverage that I needed. After a couple of attempts at doing his face, I now come back through with Rakarth flesh. Unfortunately for me, I just really struggled and fought with this head. I just couldn't get anything to go down the way I wanted to, and just couldn't achieve the look I was trying to go for with him. So I just said bugger it, slapped it on there, came back through with pallid witch flesh, and just picked out some highlights. Now with Ardcoat, I come through and just pick out and give a layer across all of the really bright pink bits of skin, just to make it look sweaty and wet. Moist. And here we have him, our noise marine, done and dusted, ready to rock the battlefield and melt your brain out of your ears.